Welcome to this video. So in today's class, we are going to look at how to sketch exponential functions. Okay. So in general, an exponential function can be represented as f of x. Okay. So this f of x is the same as y is equals to, and then I'll say a to the power x plus or minus b, and then plus or minus c. Okay. So in general, okay, an exponential function can be represented as this. So in this equation, we have different parameters. The first one is a, okay. The second one is this x plus or minus b, okay. And then the third one is this plus or minus what? C. So this is what we have here. So all these, this one, and this one, they represent different things, okay? And you have to understand what they represent for you to sketch these what? Exponential functions, I mean. Okay, so for you to sketch an exponential function, okay, you need two things. One, okay, one, you need the horizontal asymptote. Okay, you need the horizontal asymptote. So this is just a value. Why? Because it has some number, let's say C. Okay, that this graph will never touch. Okay, that's the horizontal asymptote. And then two, you need the y-intercept. Okay, so this y-intercept, you find it by letting x to be equals to 0, and then you can find your what? Your y-intercept. Okay, so these are the two things that we need in order to sketch any exponential function. But now let me explain what these parameters here mean. So this a here, okay, simply represents the base. So depending on the value of the base, you're going to have you're going to end up with two types of exponential graphs. Okay, so here I'm going to write type 1. So in type 1, this base a should always be greater than 1. Okay, and then we also have a type 2. So a type 2, it means that a should be between 1 and 0. Okay, so in short, this a should be less than 1 but greater than 0. This will give you a type 2. This one here will give you a type 1. Okay, so for example, if they've told us to sketch the graph of maybe 2x, 2 to the power x, I mean. Okay, so let me write it as an equation. So y is equals to 2 to the power x. Okay, so they give you something like this to sketch. So once you see that this base here is greater than 1, okay, we see that this is a type 2. Okay, but remember we said for us to sketch exponential functions, we need the horizontal asymptote and the what? The y-intercept. Okay, so how do you find the horizontal asymptote? Okay, so when I come to this general formula here, this C here that I've highlighted in blue is what will be our horizontal asymptote. Okay, so if you cannot see any plus a certain number like that, it means that your horizontal asymptote is simply y. Yeah. So your horizontal asymptote is simply y is equals to what? To 0. Okay, if you can't see any number being added to this exponential function like that, because we are saying this C in blue is the one that represents the horizontal asymptote. Okay, the A is the base. Depending on its value, we have either type 1 or type 2. Okay, and then this here, the power here, the x plus or minus b, will just help us find the what? The y-intercept. Okay, so how does it help us? We just let x to be equals to 0 and then we solve. Okay, so in this equation here, we can see that there's no plus any number here. So it means that our horizontal asymptote is actually y is equals to 0. Okay, what about our y-intercept? Okay, so we said for our y-intercept, we're going to say x is equals to 0. So if x is equals to 0, what will be our y? So this will be y is equals to 2, x is equals to 0. So any number raised to power 0 is 1. Okay, so it means that our y-intercept is actually 1. Okay, our y-intercept is actually 1. So if x is 0, y is 1. So we have a coordinate like 0, 1. So it means this graph, okay, of this 2 to the power x has to pass through 0, 1. But remember that we also have a horizontal asymptote, which is at at y is equals to 0. Okay, so this graph will end up looking something like this. So if this is my x or y plane, this is my x, and then this is my y. Okay, so you start from the horizontal asymptote. The horizontal asymptote is y is equals to 0. So it means it's just the x-axis. So you can draw a dotted line just above the x-axis like that to show that it is the horizontal asymptote. Okay, and then of course this is 0, so 1 will be somewhere there. Okay, so we can plot this point here. The y-intercept, it is 0, 1. So 0, 1. So the 1, the 0, 1 is somewhere there. Okay, so for a type 1 graph, it always starts from here down, okay, and then it comes up like that. Okay, so it's a graph that never touches this horizontal asymptote in green, but it has to pass through this point, okay, the 0, 1, and then it goes up like that. So this here we're going to say is the graph of 2 to the power at x. Okay, so this is the type 1 graph because the base here was what? Greater than what? 0. Okay, and then we also found that the horizontal asymptote was 0 because there was nothing added to this. Okay, and then we also found the y-intercept by letting this x to be equals to 0. Okay, we found 1, so that's where it passed like that. So that is a type 1 sketch. All right, what about a type 2? Okay, so for a type 2, let me not erase this so that we see the difference. So for a type 2, okay, this base here has to be between 0 and 1. So it has to be greater than 0 but less than 1. So for example, if I have y is equals to half, okay, let me write this properly. Y is equals to half and then to the power x. This one here is a type 2 graph. Why? Because the base is greater than 0 but less than 1. Okay, so first thing first, you have to find your horizontal asymptote. So there's nothing being added to this equation here. So that would mean that our horizontal asymptote is just y is equals to what? 0. Okay. And then what else do we need? We said we need the y-intercept. So the y-intercept, we let x be equals to 0, and then we replace it into this equation. Okay. So it will be y is equals to half to the power 0. So any number to the power 0 is just 1. So it means the point even here is what? 0, 1. Okay, 0, 1. So the 0, 1 is our, what's happening to my pens? The 0, 1 is um, our y-intercept. Okay, so since we have our y-intercept now, we can sketch this. Okay, so we're going to say this is my y, and then if I go like that, this is my x. Okay, so this is 0, this is 1. So let's plot the y-intercept, which is this guy. Okay, let's plot also the horizontal asymptote. So horizontal asymptote is y is equals to 0, which means just above the x-axis here. Okay, right. So for a type 2 graph, the sketch starts from the left side like this, and then it goes like that. Okay, so this yellow line here that I've drawn will never touch this dotted line. In short, it will never touch the horizontal asymptote like that. So you see that for a type 1, we are starting from the left, we are going to the right. Okay, for a type 2, we're starting from the right, and then we're going to the what? To the left like this. So this should always guide us. Okay, so first of all, we have to find, I said, the horizontal asymptote, and then we find the y-intercept, and then we can sketch our graph. Okay? And then depending on the value of A, we can say that, okay, this one is a type 1 graph, or this one is a what? A type 2. So now, let's solve some questions that we can see here. All right, so the first one is A. Okay, the first one is A, f of x is equals to, we have 3 to the power x. Okay, so this f of x is the same as y is equals to 3 to the power x. So what do we need? Horizontal asymptote. So this is being added to nothing here. So we're going to say our horizontal asymptote is y is equals to 0. And then for us to find the y-intercept, we say x is equals to 0. What will be our y? Okay, so I don't know what's happening to my pen. So now it's misbehaving. So this is x is equals to 0. What will be my y? Okay, so our y will be y is equals to, you see what the pencil is doing now. It's writing on itself. Okay, so a. Okay, so it will be 3 to the power 0, which will just be 1. So our y-intercept is 0, 1. So if I draw the y-x plane here, okay, this is 0, so it means 1 will be somewhere there. Okay, so this point here, I'll plot it there. And then let's also plot the horizontal asymptote, which is just the x-axis. Okay, so this one, since this here is greater than 1, this is a type 1. So it will start from there, and then it will go like that. So this is the sketch of f of x is equals to 3 to the power of x. All right, let's look at b. Okay, so b, it has a different horizontal asymptote. So you're going to see how we're going to deal with it. So we are on b. So b, they have said f of x is equals to 5 to the power x, and then plus what? 3. Okay, so the horizontal asymptote here, which is just y is equals to, will be equals to y is equals to what? Okay, to be equals to this guy, y is equals to 3. Because this 5 to the power x is being added to this. So this 3 here is the horizontal asymptote. Okay, so we are going to say horizontal asymptote is just equals to y is equals to 3. Okay, what about the y-intercept? Okay, what about the y-intercept? So we said the y-intercept, we always say x is equals to 0, and then we solve for y. Okay, so we're going to get this. We're going to say this f of x is the same as y, so y is equals to 5 to the power 0, because our x is 0, and then plus 3. So this will be 1 plus what? 3. So this will just be 4. So our y-intercept is at 0, 4. Okay, right? So we can plot the horizontal asymptote and the y-intercept to obtain our graph. So this will be our y, this will be our x. Okay, so we are going to say this is 0, and then let's just say 4 is there, and then 3 is there. Okay, so let's plot our horizontal asymptote at y is equals to 3. So it will be this line here that I'm dotting in blue like that. Okay, all right, and then we look at this value here. Is it greater than 1? We see that 5 is greater than 1. So this is a type 1. Okay, so a type 1 will start from the left and then we go up like that. So this 3 here is the horizontal asymptote. So my sketch, okay, my sketch should not touch this line here. So it will come like that, and then it will pass through the y-intercept, which is 0, 4 here. Okay, so it will start from the bottom and then it will go like that. So this one here is a sketch for 5 to the power x plus what? 3. All right, and then let's look at C. So in C, there's something new that I didn't talk about when we were starting this video, okay? But I'm going to explain it. So on C there, we see that we have f of x is equals to 2 to the power minus x. Okay, so how do you sketch this? Okay, so remember, we said we have two types of graph, right? So we said if A is greater than 1, we said we are type 1, right? If A is between 1 and 0, we said we are the type 2. Okay, so if there is a negative on the x in the power, okay, that negative will switch the type of a sketch. Okay, so here we look at this value, the a. The a is greater than 1. So this here, initially, it's supposed to be a type 1 graph, right? So meaning if you have something like this, it will start from here and then it will go like that. Okay, but because they have added this negative in the power, okay, it will change this graph from a type 1 to a type 2. Okay, because there's a negative there. So it will start from here and then it will go like that. Okay, so take note of that. Okay, as long as there's a negative with the x in the power, okay, it changes the type. If your graph was initially type 1, to change it to a type 2. If it was a type 2, it will change it to a type 1. Okay, as long as there's a negative there. Right, so what we have here will be this. Okay, so we have 2 to the power minus x. So this minus in the power will change this graph from a type 1 to a type 2. Okay, so it is a type 1 because this a here, okay, the 2 is greater than 1. Okay, but since there's a negative there, it changes this to a type what? 2. Okay, so the rest now is just the same. We find the horizontal asymptote, find the the y-intercept. Okay, so horizontal asymptote, there's nothing that is being added to this. Okay, we're going to say horizontal asymptote is 0. And then y-inter, okay, so y-intercept, we just say our x is equals to 0, and then substitute this x is equals to 0 into this equation here. So it will be 2 to the power minus x, 0, which will just still be 1. Okay, so we can sketch this. This is our y, this is our x. So this is like 0, 1. Okay, so 0, 1 is here. So I'm going to plot that point. And then the horizontal asymptote is y is equals to 0. So it will come like that. Okay, so since this one here, initially it was a type 1, so it would start from here and then it goes like that, right? But because there's a negative in the power, okay, it will start from the right and then it will go like this. So this here is the sketch of 2 to the power minus what? X. So take note of what you have in the power. All right, let's look at D. Okay, let's look at D. Okay, so on D, right, so now let's look at D. So D, we have 3 to the power minus x and then minus 4. Okay, so this minus here in the power, okay, it will change this graph from type 1 to type 2. Okay, we see that since 3 is greater than 1, okay, we're expecting that this here will be a type 1. Okay, we're expecting that it to be a type 1. But since it has a negative power, okay, it's going to change to a type 2. So this is going to be a type 2. Okay, so it will start from here and then it will go like that. But now let's find the horizontal asymptote. So horizontal asymptote will just be the value that you're adding or subtracting. Okay, so minus 4 will be our horizontal asymptote. Then from there we have to find the y-intercept. Okay, we have to find the y-intercept. So how do you find the y-intercept? We let x to be equals to 0. Okay, so from here, we're going to say this f of x here is the same as y, guys. So it will be y is equals to 3 minus 0, then minus 4. So this here will just be, it will be 3 to the power 0 minus 4. 3 to the power 0 is 1, minus 4 just be minus 3. Okay, so it means my y-intercept is at minus 3. So we have the coordinate x is 0 and then y is minus 3. Okay, so this is where the graph will cross the y-axis. Okay, so we have the horizontal asymptote and the y-intercept. So if I can sketch this, okay, so this is x, then this is y. Okay, let's plot some points. I wish I had raised this x-axis. Okay, so let's put the x-axis somewhere there. So this is my x-axis. Okay, this is 0, 1, 2, whatever. And then here, I'm going to say minus 2. Okay, I'm going to say minus 2, and then minus 4 somewhere there. All right, so here, according to this, we are told the horizontal asymptote is y is equals to minus 4. So I'm going to draw a line here. So this is my horizontal asymptote. And then what is my y-intercept? It is 0, minus 3. Minus 3 is between minus 2 and minus 4. So it's somewhere here. Okay. So Okay, so if you have a negative horizontal asymptote, it means you're also going to have the x-intercept, but the x-intercept is not um, it is not of importance. Okay, what is important is the y-intercept. So it means the curve, okay, will start from where? Remember, this is a type 2 because of this negative there. So it will start from here, okay, getting closer and closer to this horizontal asymptote, and then to pass through here, and then to go like that. Okay, so this here, this curve that I've drawn in white is the curve for 3 to the power minus x, and then minus what? 4. Okay, so you see that just follow the steps. Okay, just follow the steps, and then you'll be able to come up with it, your sketch. Okay, so here, what did we do? We first identify the type. It is type 1 because 3 is greater than 1. Okay, but because we have a negative in the power, we said it changes it to the other type, which is a type 2, which starts from the right and then goes to the left like that. Okay, then what else did we find? We found our horizontal asymptote, which is just what is being added or subtracted. So our horizontal asymptote was just y is equals to minus 4. And then from there, we found our y-intercept. Okay, so we find this by letting x to be equals to what? To 0. And then we sketch. All right, so now let's sketch E, okay, and then also F. Then we'll be done with question 2. Okay, so question E, they say f of x is equals to 3x plus 2. All right, so there is nothing that they're adding here. So it means the horizontal asymptote there is just what? Y is equals to 0. Okay, but now let's find the y-intercept. So the y-intercept, we said x should be equals to 0. So it means to be 3, 0 plus 2, which is just what? 3 to the power 2, which is 9. Okay, so it means my y-intercept is at 0, 9. Okay, so y-axis, x-axis, this is my 0. Okay, let's plot our horizontal asymptote. Y is equals to 0. So just the x-axis. So you draw a dotted line above. Okay, and then our y-intercept is just 0, 9. So 9 can be somewhere there. So this is my y-intercept. Okay, so what's type? 3 is greater than 1. So this is type 1. So type 1 starts from here and then it goes like that. Okay, so this is the sketch for 3x plus 2. That's all. Let's look at the last question, okay, on sketching exponentials. All right, so the last one is f of x is equals to e to the power x minus 2, then plus 2. So we have to know that e is just a number which is approximately 2.71, whatever numbers come here. Okay, so but it's approximately 2.71. So 2.71 is greater than 1. So this will be a type 1. Okay, so it will start from the bottom and then it will go like that. All right, the next thing is to find the horizontal asymptote. So horizontal asymptote is just the number that they are adding there or subtracting. So which will be 2. And then from there, I have to find my y-intercept. Okay, so y-intercept, we let the x to be equals to 0. Okay, and then we substitute this x into this equation. So this f of x is the same as y. So I'm going to say y is equals to e to the power 0 minus 2, and then plus 2. So this will just be e to the power minus 2 plus 2. Okay, so if you have a number raised to a negative power, okay, let me put, okay, so this is minus 2 and then plus 2. So if you have a number raised to a negative power, it's the same as 1 over that same number raised to a positive power and then plus 2. Okay, so this here is our what? Our y-intercept. And we see that this one here is going to be a positive number because this is a positive plus 2 is a positive number. So you don't have to find the exact number, no. Okay, it's just this, it's enough telling that this is a positive number. Okay, so it means we have 0, this number. Okay, so if I drew my, let me erase some of these things here. Okay, I can erase this part and then I say Our y-intercept is at 0, 1 over e squared and then plus 2. Okay, so from that, we see that that is a positive number. Okay, it's enough for us to sketch. So this is my y-axis. This is my x. Okay, so I'm going to say this is my 0. And then this is a positive number, so it's somewhere up here. Okay, so I can just write it here, e to the power 1 over, my pencil is misbehaving now. So e to the power 2 and then plus 2. So let it be there. Okay, so this, we can plot it there. Okay, and then where is our horizontal asymptote? Our horizontal asymptote is at 2. Okay, because this is 1 over e squared plus 2, it means this number here is greater than 2. Okay, so it means 2 will be somewhere below here. So we can say our 2 is there. That's where the horizontal asymptote will be. So we can sketch a shaded line like that. Okay, so what is this type? This is type 1. So it will start from, okay, it will start from here below, and then it will go like that. Okay, so this is the graph of this function that we see on what? On F. Right, so that is it for this question. If you have any other question, feel free to inbox me. My number is just in the comment, in the description below. Okay.